If I had to sum up today's entire video in a single word, it would be jump scare. Halloween is over, the celebrity costumes have rolled in, and some of them are scary for the right reasons, whereas others, I'm just scared that anybody thought this was a good idea to not only wear, but also post. So I am here to present my favorite, as well as my absolute least favorite celebrity costumes from this year. Well, I mean, most of them are celebrities. We actually have a couple honorary mentions here, just costumes that were so bad I had to mention them, even if the people involved weren't famous. And I will be presenting this top 20 list in numerical order. So we'll start off with my favorites, but as the video goes on, the vibes are just going to become more and more dark-sided until eventually I just can't do it anymore because the costumes are too bad and I have to stop recording. But first, welcome. My name is D'Angelo, and I am your professor of sartorial convergence, which is a very real degree that I definitely do have. Or maybe this is just me broadcasting myself talking in my room like YouTube used to be. And in today's lecture, I would like to explain the methodology of my top 20 list. I've segmented it into 3 sections: the top 5, the bottom 5, and everything in between. The ones in the middle are fairly interchangeable. I wouldn't really say I love number 6 so much more than number 14, but the bottom 5 are straight up set in stone because these are without a doubt the worst costumes of the year. But let's start with some good ones. My number 1 pick for best celebrity 2024 Halloween costume is Megan Thee Stallion as Starfire. There were a lot of really great costumes this year, but this is my personal fave. I just feel like she's captured the vibe of canon comic book Starfire perfectly. And also, in general, I just find Megan Thee Stallion to be pretty cool. I notice she tends to piss people off a lot by simply existing. And personally, I love that for her. Keep existing, Megan. I get the vision. All right, so for my number 2 pick, which honestly might have been interchangeable with the number 1 pick, I'm bad at numbered lists. Are you familiar with Chicken Shop Date? It's like this interview show presented by Amelia de Moldenberg, featuring guests such as Billie Eilish, SZA, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman. Most recently, the Andrew Garfield one went super viral. And so Amelia, who I think is incredibly funny, decided to channel Roz from Monsters, Inc. I wanted to include this one very near the top because if there's one thing I love more than like a good-looking celebrity costume, it's a weird-looking celebrity costume. In my opinion, everyone already knows that celebrities look good, otherwise they wouldn't be famous, so I don't always need Halloween to be a reminder that you look great, when like your entire career is demonstrating that the other 364 days of the year. I feel like this is your one chance to be weird, so you gotta take it. And this is incredibly weird. This is just an unhinged Halloween costume, actually. Well, shout out Amelia. That's my number 2 pick. I think this is fantastic. So I feel like my top 5 is just an introduction to the different vibes I look for. Accuracy is great. Weirdness, love it. And now for my number 3 pick, we have another element. Fun. I feel like so many people forget to have fun with their costumes because they're so focused on looking shocking or good or whatever. But here we have the singer Khalid, known for songs like Location, and he's just presenting an extremely straightforward Brock from Pokemon cosplay. I think it's great. I don't hold a simple costume against anybody. I think for every Roz from Monsters, Inc., there should be a Brock from Pokemon. Also, this pick goes hard. The drip is diabolical, and Gengar's here, who's my favorite. So I'm not gonna lie, that could also just be my number 1 pick. Anyway, for number 4, or 1, 2, or 3, who's keeping track at this point, we have Heidi Klum. Heidi Klum, more than anybody else, understands the assignment. She is literally the CEO of holy crap, this is my chance to get away with being as weird as possible. The woman who built an entire career off of looking like a model takes every single Halloween as a challenge to look like this instead. So we've got Heidi Klum as E.T. And I won't lie, when I first looked at this image, I didn't really understand how this costume worked at all, but then I saw it. This is a level of cursed that like I would expect from like a weird horror video that autoplays on YouTube at 2 a.m. and I'm like, what is happening? And I think that brings up another element that I look for in Halloween costumes. They should be scary, okay? Also, shout out her husband for showing up and understanding the assignment as well. I don't know if you can see, he's equally creepy. But yeah, looking back at some of her other costumes, here she is as a worm in 2022. I actually feel like she gets some sort of strange kick out of being as unsettling as possible. And I, for one, am a fan. Thank you, Heidi Klum, for keeping disturbing Halloween costumes alive. However, sharing the number 4 spot with Heidi, I actually have Janelle Monáe. She also presented an elaborate and somewhat disturbing E.T. costume. And honestly, I just feel like Janelle Monáe is incredibly underrated. Crazy singer, crazy actor. In my mind, since she and Heidi chose the same costume and brought the same level of extra to it, I'm very happy putting them at the same spot. So that's my top 4, which are actually 5, which are all interchangeable with number 1. But now it's time for my actual number 5. My pick for rounding out the top 5 may surprise you, but I've decided to go with Anne Hathaway. She seems to be channeling Boo York City, according to her caption and shirt. And I think this is so low effort that it actually loops back around to being kind of great. In fact, this kind of brings up the final vibe I usually assess when it comes to costumes. Would you actually wear this to a party? Do I think Anne Hathaway's New York City costume is like technically good? No. But do I think she's having fun? Absolutely. She just looks like, honestly, anybody in my friend group going to a random Halloween party. And so I feel like, you know what? Having fun and being proud enough of it to put it online, bring that back. Not everything needs to be a photo shoot. Anyway, there was my top 5, 6, 1. It doesn't matter. Now we're kind of going to get into the rearrangeable section. So these are picks 6 through 16. I'm not really going to number them because they don't matter. I thought all of these costumes were good, or I had mixed feelings, or they just didn't wind up in my top 5. So comedian and actor Benito Skinner traded his typical fashion for Sabrina Carpenter, which I think is hilarious. I think I'm mostly highlighting this one because it's like, kinda terrible, but in a completely iconic and immediately recognizable way. And if that's not the definition of camp, then I don't know what is. Also, I don't know why I'm on Sabrina Carpenter's Facebook page. Why does she have one of those? I just Googled her and this is what came up. But as it turns out, Sabrina was actually a fan of this one, asking if Benito would fill in for her at some point. I guess this is a PSA to like guys doing Halloween costumes. You don't have to dress up as Sabrina Carpenter if that doesn't make you comfortable. But I'm definitely tired of, let's see, the Joker, random athletes, and the same 5 iconic but very overplayed slasher movie killers. Y'all got to give me something different this year. And that's what I feel like we got this time. All right, so for my next one, I have Christina Aguilera, and this is not her, and she dressed up as Bram Stoker's Dracula, but like a Christina Aguilera version. And you know, I liked the hair, I liked the effort for sure, but I wasn't exactly sold on this costume. But then I saw this video she posted and I just understood. Like, I get it. This is such a ridiculously extra way to approach Halloween, and I believe anybody who has Christina Aguilera money has a moral responsibility to be this extra, so I appreciate it. And next up, speaking of spooky movie icons, Kelly Clarkson dressed up as Beetlejuice, and this actually is her, which is crazy. I'm not even sure what level of prosthetics I'm witnessing here, but I'm glad to be witnessing it. Huge shout out to the makeup team, the hair team, the everybody, Kelly Clarkson herself. Like, I just knew her for her voice, and I know her for her show where she does covers and like low-key outsings the original performer 10 times out of 10. But I was not familiar with your game. And so for that, Kelly, I owe you an apology. She expertly captured that Beetlejuice vibe, and I feel like her costume checks off so many boxes. Accuracy, fun, weirdness. Maybe I should move it to my top 5. No, I need to stop. Let's just move on. Benny Blanco and Selena Gomez. So here is singer Selena Gomez with producer Benny Blanco, and they gave us this couple's costume of Alice and the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. And I think my main reasons for featuring this one is because I vastly prefer this to like Joker and Harley type costumes. And then also, Benny Blanco looks nothing like this. Again, the facial prosthetics or contouring, I don't know what's happening here, but in real life, he has a completely different face, which they have somehow like yassified into handsome Squidward for this photo shoot. And so I don't know, I just think that's hilarious. My prosthetics are giving handsome Squidward meets long legs, says Benny Blanco. And I have to agree. I actually kind of want to see this reused as a handsome Squidward cosplay. But anyway, next up we have Khloe Bailey. So Khloe is a singer from Khloe and Halle fame, as well as her solo career. Halle Bailey is the Little Mermaid, and actually she'll be coming up shortly. But for Khloe's costume, she pretty much went with like the CEO of baddies, Jessica Rabbit. There were a lot of Jessica Rabbit costumes this year. I mean, there were always a lot of Jessica Rabbit costumes, but unlike most of them, I feel like Khloe kind of looks like her, like low key. This is pretty good. And yes, I love putting weird and disturbing costumes on my list, but I think there's plenty of space for just like a solid staple as well. So shout out Khloe Bailey. I think Paris Hilton is functionally serving the same purpose here. She gave us Mia Wallace from Pulp Fiction. And looking at the original, it's just a solid recreation. Not much to say about it other than great job. Now, this next costume, I do have a lot to say about it actually. So Ed Sheeran happened. So much about this image is menacing to me personally. So much of it is interpreted by my brain as a threat. And in fact, I had to fight the urge to put this at the bottom of the list immediately. But once I realized what was happening here, I just couldn't hate it anymore. So I don't know how to explain this, but there's this genre of AI generated meme that is celebrities in monkey costumes posing weirdly in Apple stores. Now, I know that sounds incredibly specific, but this is a real thing that people make. It's like a meme based off of a different meme based off, I don't know actually. But here is Timothée Chalamet and Lana Del Rey in the Apple store. I don't even think this qualifies as a monkey costume, but leave it to AI to mess up everything. Great hands, computer, great hands. We have another one of Timmy and Lana just charging my iPhone with both plugs. Yeah, in retrospect, I have no idea what this meme was actually supposed to be, but someone made this one is the moral of the story. And I just think this this is one of the worst pictures I've ever seen in my life. I can't lie. This person who posted it said, last night I drunkenly sent this to a coworker group chat and everyone ignored it. I think I would just quit my job at that point, frankly. But somehow, this image made it all the way back to Ed Sheeran himself, and that is what he decided to do this year for Halloween. Haters will say it's AI, felt cute, might delete later. I would prefer if you deleted it now, but at the same time, that wouldn't do anything because I think it's already burned into my subconscious in a way that has fundamentally changed me. Anyway, next up, we've got Lizzo. So Lizzo did so many costumes this year, and I think they had varying degrees of success. We have this Lizzo Medicine, which is like a parody of Ozempic. She's referencing this episode of South Park in which they had an Ozempic knockoff named Lizzo. And I mean, I guess, I suppose. We then have this one, and I don't know who this is. Reddit is asking if this is the Reddit mascot. It kind of does look like the Reddit mascot. But this one I thought was pretty funny. This is Lizzo as a face card. You know, people say your face card never declines if you look good. And so I thought that was clever. But then my favorite, without a doubt, is Edward Scissorhands. Not Edward Scissorhands, but SZA, the singer. Lizzo seems to have taken inspiration from and mashed up with the iconic Edward Scissorhands himself. And I think this is the kind of concept that is so dumb. It was like guaranteed to work, and it did. Now, I actually broke my rule for Lizzo here because I told myself I wasn't going to do duplicate costumes because so many celebrities post 5 or 6 for no reason. But I feel like all of Lizzo's costumes together make one decent entry on my list, if that makes sense. None of them are bad. That's just my personal ranking. All right, next we got Sophie Turner as Trinity from The Matrix. And I won't lie, I just included this one because they're actually party photos. Trinity is not a difficult costume to pull off by any means. Well, I mean, I don't know if I would look good in shiny latex, but my point is it's a simple costume, and yet Sophie Turner looks like she's having fun. And I think I just like this one because it's not actually a photo shoot. Yes, celebrities are celebrities, but sometimes it is nice to see them look like they know how to have fun. And then my last entry is also a bunch of bonus costumes at once. We've got 3 musicians this time. Tyla, Halle Bailey, and Coi Leray all posted Halloween costumes based off of Halle Berry at the same time. I don't know if this was like coordinated or if this was just like, let's all appreciate Halle Berry Day and I missed it. But I guess if there's going to be like a Halle Berry renaissance, sign me up, please. Anyway, that was the end of the rearrangeable section of the list. My opinions varied, but none of them were bad enough to wind up in the bottom 5. Even though Ed Sheeran's monkey costume, it wanted to be there. I felt it. But I actually had to save space in the bottom 5 for somebody who deserves to be there a lot more. So my number 5 worst costume goes to David Dobrik. I don't know if he actually posted this officially or if he was just spotted, but I don't care. I don't like David Dobrik, and I'm just using this as an opportunity to drag him. The way he got so much deserved flack on YouTube and then just sort of slinked off to make a TikTok career instead when he found out he couldn't keep posting videos without getting called out. And also the way there is kind of like a canceled YouTuber to TikTok pipeline, because to my understanding, Jeffree Star has had a bit of a TikTok resurgence as well, despite kind of being one of the worst people on the internet. I don't know, I'm just kind of not a fan. Costume's not even really that bad. It's just kind of nothing. It's like his career at the moment. He's there. You know, it works. It's functional, but I would prefer not to see it. All right, so at number 4, I've decided to put almost all of the Kardashians. Here we have Kylie Jenner as Barbarella, and sure, that's a good Barbarella. And you've got Kris and Khloe as Snow White, and you know, they do look like they're having fun, and I don't think that there's anything problematic with these. But looking at these photos made me realize I want to live in a post-Kard Jenner world. I feel like they've been famous for almost as long as I have been conscious, and I don't know, I'm kind of over it. But I did have to save one of the Kardashians because she gets her own spot. So Kim Kardashian decided to give us this for Halloween, albino alligator. And you know, on the one hand, from an artistic perspective, I think this is incredible for sure. Like, I can't even really comprehend the amount of work that went into this. So I truly hope this doesn't come across as a criticism of the makeup artists, but I just kind of hate this. I think that's my opinion, really. I feel like something about this unsettles me in the wrong way. Like, I kind of hated Heidi Klum's scary E.T. neck face, but in a good way. I definitely kind of hated Ed Sheeran's weird monkey pose, but at the same time, I understood it. But this, like, AI-generated looking Animorphs Kim K, something about the end result is incredibly off-putting to me, and I can't put my finger on why. But to put it scientifically, it's a no from me, dog. However, At the very least, the costume wasn't hateful. I know that might sound like a low bar to clear, but there's a reason that that wasn't my #1 worst or even my #2. So in the second slot for just the second worst Halloween costume I've seen, I actually have multiple examples of people wearing this. So there was a Donald Trump rally and there was a comedian there who referred to Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage, which is obviously just insane and needlessly hateful. Kind of like anything said by somebody standing behind a Trump Vance podium.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Forget MAGA. Let's focus on McFa. Make comedians funny again, please. But anyway, after that, the president of the United States said this.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization was seen as unconscionable.
And so Trump supporters were like, oh my God, the president has called us garbage. As if they don't spend every waking moment of their platform referring to people as illegals and all manner of actually dehumanizing language. But anyway, they decided to own the libs by dressing up as trash. I kid you not, this is Eric Trump wearing a trash bag to dunk on Joe Biden. And it's like, okay, so, you know, one guy took it to heart. No. They kept doing this. We've got Donald Trump Jr. dressed up as literal Trump supporter trash. We've got Megyn Kelly dressed up as actual trash. I actually wish I was making this up. But no, of course, we live in the worst possible version in which even Donald Trump joined in on the meme. So yeah, the day before Halloween, we actually got Trash Man Trump featuring a MAGA garbage truck. I can't make this up. Are you starting to see why I had to carve out a special space on my list for whatever is happening here? This is less of an A24 jump scare and more of a genuine regret. I wish I hadn't seen this. But yeah, trash bags for Trump. That was a Halloween costume this year. Yay. And so you may be wondering like, wait, how is that not your #1 worst costume? You started off with Megan Thee Stallion as Starfire and you've devolved into this. What could be worse than this? San Diego State University looking into Diddy Halloween costume involving blackface. Yeah, so I mean, these two went viral for dressing up as P. Diddy and Baby Oil. And they're not famous, but I don't feel bad posting their picture because it's already made it all over the internet. And I'm gonna be honest, I actually just turned my computer off that day and did not open it again. And I think I'm gonna pull a similar tactic now. But I mean, you know, blackface and Trump supporters aside, what an opening. I still had fun making this video. I tried to include a good mix of really fun stuff, impressive stuff, weird stuff, whatever Ed Sheeran was doing. You know, part of me wants to put him at the bottom of the list. Let me just do my outro before I change my mind. That's my take on the situation. Dave's take is that while Megan's costume was fire, he should have been at the top of the list because he has been in costume every moment of his life as the statue of David. And I'm of course excited to hear your take. I mean, this is the part of the video where a layman would ask you to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment, but I will ask you to enroll, evaluate the video, and submit your feedback. Because I'm of course running a 100% completely, totally, all the way, okay, maybe not really, somewhat unaccredited university. Probably. Just ask anybody in the student body and they'll confirm it for you. We're totally legit. And as for me, whether you'll see me in 24 hours or 24 months is honestly anyone's guess, but until then, thanks for watching. Your homework for today is to try to forget the Ed Sheeran monkey meme. It's what I'm going to be doing.